You know, the last thing I want to do is to disparage black women because I'm a black woman. But when I see things that really concern me and disturb me and actually embarrass me, I feel compelled to address it because this is not the example. And that's okay. Let me tell you something. It's not the only example. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to play this video that I saw about a mother coming to her daughter's aid at her workplace and what happened, and how she handled the situation. And I'll be back.
The last thing you want to do with glasses, you better bring the blind ass back up here. That's what the fuck you better do. Because baby, you asking for an issue that you want to get. You don't fuck with that one. I sent her up here to work. You understand? No. You don't get to talk.
You don't get to talk.
I sent her up here to work. She been here for the last year. She come in, she do her job, she mind her business. You better control that bitch because if I gotta come back, me and you gonna fight. And I fight niggas. I fight bitches. I fight windy employees. I fight kids. Don't fuck with her. You need to keep them two apart. Cause trust and believe, I don't give a fuck about her losing this job. This shit ain't never that motherfucking deep. She's 16 years old. You think she can't get another motherfucking job flipping burgers? But that bitch right there, she'll lose her life over that one. Trust and believe, I will shoot this bitch up. And I promise that on my daughter. Not that one. But trust and believe that bitch back there, you better control that hoe. Cause that 32 years, that bitch will not make it to see 33. Fucking with me and that.
Where's she going?
And I promise that on my life. Now y'all had y'all a blessed night. Get the fuck in the car. Now the next time I gotta come up here, get out. No, you ain't gotta apologize to him. Fuck him. Because he should have fucking controlled that bitch. That's a grown ass motherfucking woman. Send her out here then. Send her out here to me. But what happened? Send her. Ain't that what happened? Ma, I ain't trying to hear it. I'm not trying to fucking hear it. Don't fuck with her. She never called me crying. I want a bitch who owns up to your mama. Never. It ain't no fucking reason I want that hoe to come out here. Cause I swear to God, I'm gonna beat that hoe ass about my child. That's my fucking daughter. Mine. This bitch, it's the bitch she work with. This bitch back here, she gonna run when she sees me come talk. Oh, I ain't never scared. Bitch, you ain't gotta be scared, but I promise you, you won't ever see tomorrow fucking with my daughter. Don't ever think she in this war by herself, bitch. She got one fucking team.
They got security phone.
So I promise
Her job
you,
is pointless.
I promise you I will fucking kill you over my fucking daughter. And you can go get whoever. Shut up. Cause you should have controlled it with this motherfucking gun. Shut the fuck up, fucking bitch. Shut up. The fuck, this bitch don't run the bed. Don't do that to my motherfucking daughter when she coming up here to work. And fuck her. Fuck you, fuck her, and fuck with. That's how I feel. The fuck I look like. This ugly bitch everything.
Let's go, Tish. Let's go.
Girl,
Let's go. Let's go. Come on.
don't fuck with my fucking child.
That's all it took.
I'm
The
sorry.
fuck I look like.
I'm
She's
sorry.
calling 12.
I need
Look at them. They like, it's time to go, guys. Hey, can I get a 4 for 4?
Sigh. Watching that, you know, I felt so many things, but embarrassment is definitely one. I got a story for you. I understand how frustrated that mother was because I've been there. My daughter was 16, 17, working 2 jobs. She worked at Chick-fil-A and she worked at McDonald's. I remember her telling me, at this time we lived in Virginia, and I worked in DC. I remember her telling me that this girl named Kelly didn't like her. Well, you know how that goes. I'm just thinking, okay, they just a personality clash. But my daughter kept telling me that Kelly kept picking on her and saying different things and talking to her crazy in front of people. And Kelly was not the manager that hired her. So after hearing this over and over again, I took it upon myself, because she was a minor, after I got off work, to go have a sit down with the two managers, the one manager that hired her and this Kelly woman. Both of them were young, in their early 20s, so I imagine they were probably in college or college age. So after talking to them, what I wanted to do, again, being a leader, that's what I am, I wanted to take the opportunity to make it a teachable moment. To let them know, okay, you cannot or you should not hold someone to a standard if you have not made them adequately aware of the expectations. So I said, I understand my daughter and I understand that she can slack on some things. I said, but as a leader, and I'm assuming that you want to go further in your career and manage people, it is incumbent upon you as a manager to make your expectations clear. And if that person is not measuring up to the expectation, then you hold them accountable for that. But also be, the way that you approach the situation with that employee makes all the difference. Now, the meeting was good because I sat down with the two of them and my daughter was there. And I said, I can assure you that my daughter, once she's given adequate instructions, she will execute, but she's a teenager. But by all means, hold her accountable. I left the meeting believing that we were all on the same page, had an understanding. Everything was good for about 2 to 3 weeks. Then I had to go back. My daughter called me one day at work and she was crying hysterically. Now, I remember when I used to do that to my mother and she said, don't be calling me crying. And I couldn't understand why my mom would be tripping like that. Well, I got that call and I felt the same way. And I said, don't call me crying. And she was trying to tell me what was going on with old girl. So I hang up the phone and I knew what I needed to do. I left work, but see, again, I'm working in DC and I live in Woodbridge, Virginia. So it took me a good 30, 40 minutes to drive to her job, but I was going to be there. When I get to Chick-fil-A, my daughter is behind the counter. I go to the other guy that hired my daughter. I said, so-and-so, I can't remember his name. I said, I want to speak to you for a minute. And I said, can you get Danielle from behind the counter? So he brought over, I said, we talked about this before. And I thought it was, I made myself clear as to the expectation, definitely hold Danielle to a standard. And if she needs to be corrected, be corrected. However, when my child calls me crying because someone is mistreating her and talking to her crazy and embarrassing her because they have the power to do so in that position, that's a problem for me. I said, so now since, it is apparent that Kelly does not understand what management and leadership is, I don't want her giving my daughter any instruction whatsoever at all. I don't want her engaging with my daughter at all. And please understand, if you fire my daughter because of this, I will take legal action. Do we have an understanding? Well, yes, Miss Jones. Yes, Miss Jones. I said, thank you for your time. I want to speak to my daughter for a moment. So my daughter comes to me crying. She's got tears in her eyes. She said, thank you, Mom. I didn't know you was going to come. Oh, let me back it up. I forgot. When I was talking to the guy, I almost had his name. I said, I don't want Kelly talking to my daughter anymore. I said, because that right here is pointing to my daughter. She belongs to me. I said, she belongs to me. So fast forward, my daughter was thanking me. I said, I thought you were mad at me when I called. I said, I was, because I couldn't do anything in that moment. And when you call me crying, I want to respond. I said, but I'm not going to let anybody mistreat you. See, you see the difference in how that was handled? But my point was made. So her coworker said, oh, your mom is gangster. And I didn't even have to call nobody no bitch.